Kill me quickly, the alien girl begged, every bone broken. Then he lifted the blanket and the first thing Captain Darius Holt noticed wasn't her eyes. It was the sound she made. Not a scream, not even a whimper, just a ragged, wet gasp, the kind that told him she was trying to hide her pain even as her body fell apart. He'd found her in the wreckage of what used to be a dropship. The metallic hull was half melted, the ground around it glassed by plasma fire. Smoke still coiled into the gray alien sky. The war had ended 3 hours ago, at least officially. But the dead and dying hadn't gotten the memo. She lay amid the rubble, tangled in the shredded remains of a thermal blanket. Her limbs bent in wrong directions, her pale violet skin mottled with burns. A warrior's insignia, silver, sharp, unmistakable, was tattooed over her collarbone.
Zarathi.
The same race that had slaughtered 1,000 of his own during the siege of Arcadia. And yet, when her eyes found his, a dim silver shimmer through the smoke, she didn't spit at him, didn't curse him in her native tongue. She just said, "Kill me quickly, human." He should have. Protocol demanded it. Zarathi combatants, captured alive, were to be terminated. They didn't take prisoners. Neither did humanity anymore. But something in her tone, it wasn't defiance. It was exhaustion. The kind of defeat no one should ever taste. Holt crouched beside her, rifle still warm in his hands. "You're asking the wrong man," he muttered. Her gaze didn't waver. "My bones are gone. My blood is poison. Do it." He stared down at her, jaw clenched. The rain began to fall, hissing as it met the still hot wreckage. "What's your name?" he asked. Her brows knit. "You mock me?"
No.
"I just want to know who I'm supposed to kill." Silence stretched between them. "Finally," she whispered, "Saren, daughter of Care." Holt lowered the rifle. He worked by instinct, cutting away melted armor, applying nanogel from his medkit, trying to stabilize what little he could. Her body was a mess, fractures everywhere, internal bleeding, nerve damage from plasma burns. "You shouldn't waste your resources," Saren rasped, voice trembling. "You're saving a corpse." "Yeah, well," Holt grunted, tightening a splint. "I've been called worse." When he lifted the corner of the thermal blanket to assess her injuries fully, he froze. Her right arm wasn't an arm anymore. It was rebuilding itself. The shattered bone beneath her translucent skin shimmered faintly, glowing threads weaving themselves back together like liquid crystal.
Zarathi Biotech.
Self-healing at a cellular level. He'd read reports, but seeing it up close was something else entirely. "You're regenerating," he murmured. "Slowly," she said, eyes closing. "Too slowly. The nanostrands can't rebuild what's already burned. You should finish it." "Not today." Hours passed. He built a fire under the shell of the dropship, the smoke curling through cracks in the hull. Rain drummed softly outside. Saren drifted in and out of consciousness, her breathing shallow. Every now and then, she spoke, half delirious, half dreaming. "They said humans were beasts," she whispered once. "That you tear the flesh from your enemies and drink it." He smirked faintly. "Only on holidays." She actually smiled, a faint, ghostly thing, and then fell silent again. By morning, Holt's supplies were nearly gone. His beacon had gone unanswered. Command probably assumed he was dead with the rest of his squad. The war was over. Nobody was coming back for the stragglers. He looked down at the alien under the blanket, her body still twitching in pain, and exhaled slowly. "Guess it's just us." When she next woke, her eyes were clear. "You didn't kill me," she said softly. "Why?" "Because you're still breathing." "That's not reason enough." "It is for me." She stared at him a long time, then asked, "Are all humans like you?" Holt chuckled dryly. "No. Most of them are smarter." By the third day, she could sit up. The Regan process had accelerated. Her species' biology was terrifyingly efficient when fed even minimal energy. But the wounds still covered half her body, and each movement looked like agony. "Your soldiers?" she asked one evening, voice quiet. "You fought at Arcadia?" He nodded. "I was there," she said. "My unit stormed the Western Trench." I remember seeing you." Holt froze. "You what?" "You carried a heavy rifle. You killed my commander." I saw the plasma go through his throat. Her voice wasn't accusing, just distant, remembering. "Guess we're even then," Holt said after a pause. "Even," she tilted her head. "I killed 12 humans that day." "Then you owe me 11, he replied, lighting another ration fire. To his surprise, she laughed, a soft, crystalline sound that seemed so out of place amid the ruins. By the 5th night, her recovery had reached something like stability. Holt could see the outline of her body mending beneath the patched blanket, the strange elegance of Zarathi anatomy knitting itself whole again. When he handed her a canteen, their fingers brushed, her skin still faintly cool, almost metallic. She blinked. "Your hand is warm." "Human trait," he said. "We run hot." "That must be nice. Zarathi blood runs cold unless we're fighting." "Explains why you're always angry." She tilted her head again, puzzled. "You think we are angry?" "I think you were scared," Holt said. "Whole empire picking fights with species you don't understand." Her eyes narrowed. "You speak like a scholar, not a soldier." "Once upon a time," he said, "I was both." The following morning, he found her outside, standing unsteadily under the rain, watching the gray horizon. She was still weak, but her frame had straightened, her eyes bright again. "You'll freeze," Holt called. "I feel the world," she said quietly, not turning. "I was taught to hate it. Now I only feel how vast it is." He joined her, standing shoulder to shoulder. "That's what peace feels like." "Uncomfortable, huh?" She glanced at him. "You think there will be peace?" He hesitated. "If enough people like us survive, maybe." Her expression softened. "Then I will survive." 2 days later, they reached the edge of the ravine where his emergency pod lay buried. It was mostly intact, enough to make the journey to orbit. Saren stopped at the hatch, gaze distant. "If we leave, they'll kill me. My people will call me traitor. Your people will call me a war criminal." Holt shrugged. "Then we don't tell them." She blinked. "You would hide me?" "I already did." She studied him in silence for a long moment. Then, slowly, she reached out and pressed her palm to his chest, right over his heart. "You are strange, human." "Yeah," he said. "That's kind of our thing." They launched at dawn. The pod rattled violently through the stratosphere, shaking as the black of space swallowed them. Saren stared out the viewport, her reflection pale against the stars. "Where will you take me?" she asked. "Somewhere no one cares who started the war," Holt said. "Frontier colony. Quiet place." "And you?" she asked. "Why risk yourself?" He hesitated. "Because I'm tired of burying enemies." For a while, neither spoke. The hum of the engines filled the silence between them. Then Saren said, "When you lifted the blanket that first night, I wanted to die. I thought the light you carried was just the fire that would end me. But it wasn't. It was different." "What was it then?" "Warm," she whispered. "Like mercy."